before we get into the or the March Madness, the first and second round recaps here, we're gonna start the show a little bit early. I'm gonna give you guys a curveball of the week that is sports related here. So,
Oh,
fellas, you know, March is known for madness. It's known for some incredible games, some tremendous memories. So I want to know, what is your favorite March Madness memory?
I gotta say, I was a kid. I was in St. Ed's still down in Fort Dodge, and I didn't like Iowa at the time. I would go back and forth between Iowa State, and Iowa was playing as a. I want to say they were like a. There was like Mark Bruner. I can't remember who else there was on that team, but they were either a 2 or 3 seed. They were super high, and I want to say they were a 3 seed and lost to Northwestern State, if I remember correctly. And half we were all watching it in the cafeteria. Half the school was just freaking out, happy. The other half was just absolutely devastated. And the fact that there weren't fists thrown was pretty amazing. Like, I was impressed. But that was probably my favorite upset, actually.
Okay.
I think you got to continue on the upset line here. And when Florida Gulf Coast guys put on a show that first weekend when they beat Georgetown and San Diego State, was it?
Dunk City.
Yeah, Dunk City. The team just coming off of Fort Myers Beach. The school was around for 5 years before this. They barely had a program.
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, the old Grand Canyon. Their head coach, after a good 2-game stretch, gets a job at USC. If I'm not mistaken, I think they got trounced in the Sweet 16. But that is what March is. We call it March Madness. A school who has only been around for less than 5 years. They have Dunk City. Their coach gets a job at a Power 5 program in the second biggest city in this country, and they just took the country by storm. I mean, how can you not love Florida Gulf Coast? And then also, from some friends I have who live down in Florida, hearing how wild that campus is, and probably how the campus should have been shut down for some of the activities and some things they had to do to stop some of those activities. It's crazy. So give me Florida Gulf Coast, man. That was wild that weekend.
Yeah, that is also a good one. That brings up that year brings some good memories up as well.
Hey, Dylan, another one. Us three were all living together. The championship game that year was Carolina Villanova. Villanova goes down, hits the 3. Jenkins hits the 3 to win the championship. I remember Ethan standing up, takes his arm, goes, "Let's go!" And then after that, he goes right to bed. He doesn't say anything else. He just disappeared. But Villanova wins the championship on a walk-off. It's utter madness. I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? Dylan's like, oh my God, what happened? Ethan stands up, "Let's go!" It goes right to bed. Doesn't say anything else.
That's right. And you and I just look at each other like he just shuts the door. He's like, all right, good night. You blacked out. It happens. Sometimes exciting things like that, it happens. It's
awesome.
He didn't have time for the net cutting ceremony or one shining moment. Ethan, he had to go right to bed.
I was pretty tired, I guess.
Yeah.
Some things don't change.
That was pretty fun. That was funny.
There were some good memories in that. Well, some sports related sad memories too of the Blair Walsh miss, where we were all felt like we were a part of the team, where we were all on one knee with our arms locked, and then he misses it and we all just fall to the ground limp.
Connor almost jumped off the deck.
Yeah, he was pretty suicidal.
And then Dylan, that was the infamous Thursday night game.
The Kansas City, that's right, game. The Kansas City, the Jamal Charles fumble.
Jamal. And also, that game, that last drive when Denver got that touchdown to tie the game. I'm telling both of you, they just paid Justin Houston. This defense has to make a play. They got to make a play, and they can't do it. I just thought of this now, Dylan. This is another stupid memory, but Dallas had a bad year that year. Romo broke his collarbone, twice? Remember the Monday night game against Washington where Matt Castle looked like '08 Matt Castle and threw that ridiculous touchdown in the corner and at the time beat the Redskins? You were just losing your mind because
just the one bright spot. And then week one when they came back with like no timeouts and 30 seconds left to beat the Giants on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. So now these aren't March Madness memories, but it's just like I said,
it's
a lot
good
of
to
craziness
reflect
at that
and
department.
Look back on our short time we all lived together.
Mm-hmm.
But 1 year. That's crazy to think that was 8 years ago too.
That's nuts.
Almost 9.
Yeah. And,
9 years in like September.
It'll be But favorite March Madness memory. There's a few that go down that I could go by here, but I could say the 2013 Trey Burke shot against Kansas, but the problem was I didn't get to see that because it was Good Friday and we had Good Friday Mass. So I got to watch the first half, and then we leave, and we're sitting in church, and I get out, I check my phone, and I'm like looking at it like OT. I think Michigan won by like 3, and I'm like trying to like look, and I'm like, for some reason I couldn't read. Well, probably not.
You still can't.
For some
reason.
I'm stupid. Yeah, still can't read.
Level, still doesn't count.
And I'm like, and then I had a buddy text me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, that was the most insane game ever." I'm like, "What happened?" And then I go onto Twitter and I see Trey Burke hit the shot, and it was like, "Wait, they won? Oh my, holy crap, they won! Let's go!" And then they destroy Florida, and then they beat Syracuse. But I think there's 2 that really stick out in my mind here, Grant. And first one happened in 2014 when NDSU beat Oklahoma in overtime. Felt like it was over. Lawrence Alexander hits a deep 3 to tie the game. The game goes to overtime. NDSU handles them in overtime, gets the first win NCAA tournament win in program history. Something South Dakota State is still looking for, might I add here. But that game, or a game that I don't know if we've ever told this story on the podcast. We've told this to other people here, but it's 2018. Grant and I was visiting you guys on spring break. Grant and I, we went and watched the NCHC hockey tournament that day. And after the tournament gets out, you and I were walking to the bar. We're going to go watch the rest of some March Madness games. And it's Michigan is playing Houston in a second round game.
And it's St. Patrick's Day.
On St. Patrick's Day.
Where
and this was in St. Paul.
Okay.
St. Paul.
And it was very nerve-wracking. Houston couldn't make their free throws. Michigan is down by 2. And they call a timeout. And it was like still wasn't feeling good because there wasn't a lot of time left. There was going to have to be a perfect play drawn up, perfect, flawless execution. And what happens is they inbound the ball, throws it to Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman. Rahman throws it over to Jordan Poole, catches it from about 3 feet behind the NBA three-point line. Splash. Grant and I lock arms. I jump into him, and I'm pretty sure I wrap my legs around him. And we start hugging each other. Just a special moment. I felt like Jim Valvano when he won the NCAA tournament, looking around for somebody to hug. And then just suddenly Grant is right there, my day one rider. Both of us were Michigan fans. Everybody else was looking at us like we were weird. We didn't care because Michigan won and they were going to the Sweet 16.
It's fair.
Oh God, I remember that. And then after that, I think Dylan, you were so excited you may have gotten 4 egg bombs.
Probably sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was funny. I will remember that until the day I die. That's funny.
So to flip it, then, guys, what is your saddest March Madness memory? Heartbreaking.
Man, that's tough.
I don't know if I have a real heartbreaking moment where I was like truly devastated.
Iowa versus Richmond in 2022.
Well, so I was thinking about that, and actually, I was helping Caleb move that day, so I'm actually trying to follow that game. We're in Tennessee, and of course, there's no cell service because we're going up and down in all the mountains and the foothills. And by the time we get to like Chattanooga and stop for some food, I have cell service. And then I look at the score and I look at the box score and I was like, yeah, these guys are going to lose. Like winning 4 games in 4 days in the Big Ten tournaments doesn't mean anything right now because they're going to lose to, was it a 12 seed? Was it a 5-12 game? I can't. Mm-hmm. It's either a 5-12 or 4-13.
I'm pretty sure it was a 5-12 because I think both you and I had Iowa going to the Final Four.
yeah, I think so because they got hot. And then, just kind of they couldn't make a shot in that game. Also, I think the championship game that year was kind of a tough one too. More or less, I just kind of felt bad for Alec because Carolina was up by 15 at halftime. They just slayed the Duke Dragon, and you're thinking, holy shit. Hubert's first year, they're going to win the national title. And then, Kansas had to come back, and it just wasn't Carolina's night that night.
But they killed Coach K, so that's basically winning the national title.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think. Was it 2017? Or no, it wasn't that long ago. 2019 when the Gophers lost to Middle Tennessee State?
That would have been 17 when they lost to Middle Tennessee. Yeah.
Jeez, that's
because 19 they beat Louisville and lost to Michigan State. I think if memory serves.
Yeah. No, that's right because it was the Pitino Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it must have been 2017 then. But no, that was a hell of a good run. They beat Michigan State in the quarters. Honestly, if Akeem Springs doesn't blow his Achilles out, they probably beat Michigan. I think is who it was in the semifinals. I think they lost.
Yep, because Michigan won Michigan won that year.
And then Middle Tennessee State was not a 12. That was one of the worst seedings they've had in a long time. They were phenomenal. I think did they go to the Sweet 16 or did they lose to San Diego State?
I think they beat San Diego State that year.
Yeah, because the year before they were a 15 seed and beat Michigan State in the first round.
Yeah, so they were not a 12, BS. But that team was so good. Reggie Lynch, Murphy, Coffey, that was a high caliber team that honestly probably underachieved with Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They weren't top 10. They were top 15 a couple times.
Yeah, they were. That was a really good team and basically a do or die year for Pitino, which basically saved his job. If he didn't have a good year, he was probably gone.
Mm-hmm.
But saddest memory is probably the 2013 national championship game against Louisville. They fought all the way back. They fought there. They were up big at halftime. Trey Burke had 2 fouls and didn't play. And one of the questionable coaching decisions is not putting him back in as Louisville made a run to kind of close that gap. And then the Trey Burke block that was clean.
Peyton Siva.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
Your favorite line,
It's a great line until it's used against you. So
true.
Well, yeah, to your point, Dylan, Kansas got Samford got Trey Burke this weekend.
They did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. That was and I think the only reason they called that a foul was because of the way he landed. If he lands normal, it's a no call. But the fact that he just landed awkwardly, they had felt that they had to call a foul.
They had to call it. And when I saw, let's be honest, when you see that shit live, there's no way you don't call a foul, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough call. It's easy to watch it in slow motion, but
in my eyes, in the last 2 minutes of a game like that, you should be able to review that, and then it's Samford's ball underneath the basket.
Yeah.
That's just me.
But those are two my saddest moments here, and then